This video will go over reading strategies for scholarly articles. Whether you've been tasked with reading one for a liberal arts class, or whether you need to use them for a research paper, this video will show you how to effectively and efficiently read them. We'll be using this article as an example, which can be found on JSTOR, one of our academic databases. Before I dive into the reading, I would first do what's called preview the article. Previewing involves skimming and paying attention to particular elements of the reading to find out information that will help me understand the article better when I actually go and read it. For this article, let's first take a look at the title. The title can actually tell us a lot about the topic of an article. Here, it's Heroic Indolence, Realism, and the Politics of Time in Raffaelli's Absinthe Drinkers. Okay, right off the bat, I notice that Absinthe Drinkers is in italics. Given that this is in the journal Art Bulletin, I'm going to assume that this is a work of art and that Raffaelli is the artist. Another good thing to do here would be to look up the artwork and the artist online to get some more background info. I see the word indolence here, and I don't know what it means, so I'm going to look it up. Okay, laziness. I know what that means. Heroic laziness. And then I see realism, which probably refers to the realism art movement. And then there's something having to do with the politics of time in this piece. And all of this presumably ties to heroic laziness in some way, which I will hopefully find out when I read it. Let's then move to the abstract. The abstract is a short summary of the article, and it generally includes the thesis or the argument that the scholar is presenting and how he's going to prove that argument. This is really helpful to know before reading the whole article. If you understand what the scholar is presenting and the point they're trying to get across, you'll be able to better evaluate the article and decide for yourself how effective the scholar is in presenting their thesis and their research. Not all articles have abstracts, but luckily this one does. So I would read through this once, and then if I didn't understand everything, which is very likely with academic texts, I would break it down sentence by sentence. Let's practice that now. First shown at the 6th Impressionist exhibition in 1881, Jean-François Raffaelli's Absinthe Drinkers represents a location, an activity, and a social type, the banlieue, drinking, and the déclassé, which, when mixed together, offered a volatile cocktail to its original audience. Alright, so I know that the artwork is tied to the Impressionist movement, and I know that the scholar is arguing that it represents a location, an activity, and a social type, the banlieue, drinking, and the déclassé. I know what drinking is, but what about banlieue? Let's look it up. Okay, French suburbs of Paris. That makes sense. And then let's also look up déclassé. Okay, someone who has fallen in social status. So this painting represents the suburbs of Paris, drinking, and someone who has fallen in social status. And according to this article, these three things represented together in the painting were controversial and triggered something volatile in the people who were viewing it for the first time, the original audience. That is how you dissect a sentence. Notice how I used a dictionary and also put ideas into my own words to better understand what it was about. After examining the title and the abstract, if you have one, you should start by reading the introduction and the conclusion. These two areas will likely contain the main ideas of the article and the scholar's thesis. In addition, take a look at the different section headers if the article has them. So for this article, the first section is titled Against Impressionism. That title lets me know that this section of the article is going to be discussing someone or something that is against Impressionism. And that's helpful information to know. Ultimately, Previewing allows us to understand what's going to be discussed in the article and what we're potentially going to find out in the article. When you're ready to start reading, you'll be able to focus on how the scholar is presenting their ideas and research, and what information is important for your own research or an assignment. In summary, when you need to read a scholarly article, it's a good idea to preview the article first, which involves paying attention to the title, reading the abstract, if applicable, reading the introduction and conclusion, looking for any section headings, and using a dictionary to look up words that you don't know. For more information on scholarly articles, check out our other videos, or email learning@remcad.edu to set up a tutoring appointment with the SLC.